I'm not saying I believe in Bigfoot, but just look back there. Say, how come you can never find Bigfoot? Well, just look. Let me show you. If there was a Bigfoot standing next to a tree, you'd never see it. That's why everybody who says they saw a Bigfoot, they're all shocked that one just appeared. I mean, out here, a black bear can just walk right up to you and you don't even know it's there. So people say, how come we haven't found any Bigfoots? Well, I'm not saying they exist. I've never seen one. I hope I never do. And if I do, I hope my camera's on. Because you'd be so shocked. You know, if you don't have the camera pointed in the direction. You know, I see, elk run across or just walk slowly across the road. I can't get my camera on fast enough. It takes 3 or 4 steps. You can't walk around with the camera on 24 hours a day, obviously. Look at that, it looks like 3D videoing, doesn't it? Now, I'm out here a lot. You guys know how much I'm in the wilderness. A lot. More than 90% of people on Earth. And I rarely see wild animals. I don't want to see a bear, no. Not unless it's Yogi Bear with a picnic basket. And he wants to share it with me. Hey, Yogi. That tells you how old I am. So, if Bigfoot is real, you never see him. If he doesn't want to be seen, you're not going to see him. And if he's walking or moving, and he's like every other kind of animal, comes out at night. Now I say if Bigfoot existed, the military would have, filmed him infrared by now. But it doesn't mean they can come down from their airplane and follow him around. I mean, there's one reason I believe Bigfoot is real. See, look at that. Look at how wild that just got right there. And that's just one tiny little, 50 square foot place. Just 50 square foot there. Well, the reason I think Bigfoot is real because of the Native American Indians. They have too many stories of an ape-like creature walking out of the wilderness and into their campfires and eating fish and stuff with them and sitting down at a campfire and then getting up and leaving. And this was back when, they didn't make up stuff like that. They never even heard of something like that. Look at that stream down there, see? And they thought it was like more of a spiritual creature Like, it was a spirit that came down in the flesh, F-L-E-S-H. So now it could have been an ape-like creature 100 years ago, and now they're just all gone. I mean, I have no problem believing those beautiful green mossy trees. I have no problem believing you know that God made apes and gorillas all over the world. So I got no problem believing, look at that. That was cut down like 100 years ago. That was like a 300-year-old tree back then. I got no problem believing God made, ape-like creatures. The animals. We made dinosaurs. You don't see dinosaurs walking around. There's been a lot of animals since the great flood of Noah that have gone extinct. Even in the last 100 years, in America, a lot of these animals, because of mankind, they've gone extinct. It's funny, I look at 60-year photos around here on the Oregon coast, right? 60-year-old photos of the salmon they used to catch here just 60 years ago. These salmon are over 4.5 feet long, right next to people. They're holding them. They're not fake. It takes 2 guys to hold one up. These things are huge. They weigh like 60-pound salmon. You don't even see anything like that today. I mean, if someone catches a 35-pound salmon, it makes the newspaper today. So yeah, I have no problem believing that Bigfoot was just a creature that's probably mostly extinct today. You can talk about Bigfoot and artificial intelligence at the same time. Mankind is actually inventing artificial intelligence to replace mankind. Everybody's warning against it. And they're like, oh, no. That'll never happen. We'll always be in charge of artificial intelligence. The more technology we invent and create, I think the dumber we get. Look at that big, huge, there it goes. There were 2 vultures, you see them right there. There's something dead down here, and 2 vultures are gnawing at it. Maybe it's a Bigfoot. I'm gonna see what's down here that's dead. It's something down in the bushes, like a deer or something. So there you go. I mean, you could barely even see those two huge vultures in the forest eating a dead thing, hardly. How are you going to see a Bigfoot? No, this isn't a prank video where I show you a Bigfoot at the end, no. Have my son dress up as a Bigfoot or something and play a joke on you. No, people who search for Bigfoot, they don't like jokes like that. They're very serious people. Look at that huge log that just fell down right there. Look at that. Look at the size of that log. If you had enough supplies and you didn't injure yourself, you could come out here, set up a canvas tent, a waterproof canvas tent, spend 3 years out here if you had enough supplies and nobody would ever know you're here. Now, you could do that all over Colorado Rocky Mountains if you had a way to stay warm in the winter. But out here, it only gets down like 38 degrees. You don't have to beat, you just have to have waterproof warm clothing. So does Bigfoot exist? I've never seen one, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. But I will tell you, I know people, well, they're not alive anymore, but I've talked to them. They died like 20 years ago. I mean, I'm from Iowa. We don't sit around, you know, in the cornfields talking about Bigfoot, but out here in the Pacific Northwest, everybody mentions it eventually. And I knew a couple guys, they were logging truck drivers, and they took it to their dying bed that and it was in the newspaper around here, that like 7 or 8 people saw the same Bigfoot over a 3-week period crossing the highway and stuff, early in the morning. And none of the people knew each other, and they all swore it was a real gorilla like Bigfoot out here. I don't think you can look it up because it's such a small newspaper. It's not even in publication, or there's no, you know, they never used to keep that stuff after the newspaper came out. And I've heard of people who go out into the forest logging out here. Like 30, 40, 50 years ago, and they claim they've seen them before. Like half a mile away or a mile away on the hill going over the other side of the ridge, and no, there was no reason for them to bring it up. But for me, it's the Native American Indians who are the most reliable source. Because we have Indian tribes in this area, you know, and they're still descendants from, you know, like the Siuslaw tribe and stuff. And I know a guy who is pretty high up in the tribe, I'll just put it that way. And I knew another guy who was chief of the tribe, but he died like 20 years ago, about 20 years ago. And he used to come into the restaurant where I was working and tell me about it. So this guy, he was pushing 80 years old 20 years ago. So his grandparents were born in like 1860, 1870. And he remembers the stories they used to tell him. Oh, I got to show you the stream back here. It's beautiful. The sun is just perfect. Now look at that. Look at that down there. See what I mean? You'd never see a Bigfoot out here. But the guy also, this Indian chief used to tell me other things when I was serving him his dinner, you know, in a restaurant. He used to tell me about, you know, going down to the Siuslaw River like 100 years ago. You could literally, certain times of the year, walk right. He said you could get out of the boat and walk across the river on the back of the salmon. He wasn't exaggerating. He said the tribe, the Native American people, would go down once a year and pull thousands of salmon out of the tribe. I mean, out of the river. And dry them for food all year. They couldn't. And there was still, you know, that many left. And today, you know, look, I mean, they can't even keep hardly salmon in the river today.